Forgiveness Intensive Project, where we're talking about how to get past those painful experiences in our life where we have been hurt or betrayed by another, and the process for doing that. Now, during my work in helping others along the way with this, and also on my own personal journey, I've identified 10 different steps. Now, I'm not saying that these are written in stone. All I'm doing is sharing with you my experience. And so what we wanted to do today is talk about step 6. The journey of forgiveness is always easier to make when you surround yourself with the right people. And that's why in step 6, we talk about sharing your story. And so we'll explore more about that in just a moment. So make sure you continue to watch this broadcast. There's my team. How's it going?
Going good.
So, you can't believe the brain damage that we go through in order to make this happen, but I'm grateful. Karen had a flat tire today, and Trina just got back from the eye doctors, and I was just been sitting here basking in the sun and getting a manicure.
You wish.
Yeah. So that's good. So we're talking here today about sharing your experience. And so let's just jump into the slides, and we'll have a chance to do that. But before I do, just bring me up to speed about how things, other than what I've shared, how things are going with you ladies, and also what your experience has been like in participating in this project.
Karen first.
All righty. How things have been going. Kind of crazy, I won't lie. A lot of just juggling family stuff and trying to get everything figured out with all that kind of stuff. But let's see. And how things have been going with this. I think it's been going pretty good. It's out of my comfort zone to do videos and things like that, but I think that the benefit outweighs the lack of comfort that I receive.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, life is good. I am also in ministry, probably up to here somewhere. It's so peoply, but God loves them and we love them. And but this, you know what? This whole beyond betrayal, there's not a person out there that hasn't been betrayed.
Yeah.
And everyone that I meet has that hurt like sitting out there, and I recognize it. And so, I mean, I just got to talk to somebody the other day that, you know, and it's such a load to carry that you can see that it weighs them down. And I said, you know, I really want you to think about the word forgiveness.
Yeah.
And because it is all that get that weight off of you, because you're carrying around hurt that somebody else didn't even care about, you know. So it's helped everywhere I go, honestly.
Yeah. You know, and I've created a playlist of all of these recordings that we've made on YouTube, and so I'll post that on the various sites where you may be watching this. But also, we have a private Facebook group that you can join and keep up with the posts that we feed into that. And also, we got some exciting new projects. We're not quite ready to announce, but we got some exciting new projects that are coming up with that. So, having said all of that, let's just jump ahead and we will go ahead with our slides here. And we're on step 6 of this journey to forgiveness, and that's share your experience. And oops, I jumped ahead. And so you can see that we, on the 10 steps to forgiveness, we choose to forgive first. We examine ourselves. We identify their offenses and our losses, feel our feelings, forgive all that you can, and share this experience with a trusted friend. So when it comes to sharing your experience, that you can share your experience, and you probably have if you've been hurt or betrayed. But there's a kind of a wisdom on how to do this sharing, and I think this is where I believe a lot of people get tripped up on this point. But share your experience with a trusted friend, minister, or counselor, whoever that is. Make sure it's someone who respects your efforts and understands and appreciates your commitment to forgive. And oops, I jumped over to Karen for a moment, and I wanted to bring all three of you on. So there you go. Forgive me for doing that. This gets a little bit crazy on this side of things, but we don't need somebody in our life to just kind of like pile on with how bad the other person has treated us. How about you in your experience? Have you ever noticed that through the trauma that you guys have gone through, or witnessed it in others?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It just doesn't do you any good, because what ends up happening is that instead of kind of like moving you down the path, all it does is reinforce resentments oftentimes.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and the rehearsal process of it over and over, you're stuck there. You're just like fishing in the same
Yeah.
mucky fishing hole,
Yeah.
it's
Mm-hmm.
good
Yeah.
to share your story, but don't just keep rehearsing it.
There's helpful ways to share it. And,
Yes.
and let's understand that you don't have to get it perfect in order to make wise choices, but you also need to kind of like be aware of when you're heading down a blind alley. And I've noticed plenty of people kind of get into this headspace of the almost like the defiant survivor.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's a dangerous headspace to be in, to tell you the truth.
I do too.
So,
right.
but,
Because your story isn't what defined you. That's your past.
yeah.
And you hope you learn from it. Don't let it define you. That's how I feel about it. I've moved way on by now, but if my past could help someone, that's when I would visit it again.
Yeah. And we posted some meme in our Facebook group, and I'm not going to quote it exactly. I'd have to revisit it to get it correct. But it says that you didn't choose how to be hurt, but you do have the power to choose how you'll heal.
That's right.
And man,
That's right.
So
That's right.
when it comes to moving forward, really what we need is that we need the right people in our life, and what we need is someone who is patient. Mm-hmm. Because once you've gone through your trauma, it's kind of crazy, because you do ruminate and circle back and tell the same story over and over. And I'm grateful for the friends that I've had in my life who were patient with me while I was going through all of this stuff. I'm talking about my own trauma. While I was going through all of that, because you need someone who is patient and not judgmental. Because the last thing you need is for someone to make you feel guilty about choosing to forgive or not being further down the road than where you are. And I found that's vitally important, is give people the grace to be where they're at. Because you just try to rush them along. There's a good saying in Christian circles when it comes to sharing your faith, and that's, don't tug at green fruit. So, when a person is not ready to hear the gospel message and they've made it evident to do that, all you're going to do is alienate that person by insisting. But the same with forgiveness. If somebody is not in the space yet where they are ready to forgive, then guilting them into forgiveness,
Right. Right.
is not very beneficial. So,
And also, if
yeah.
somebody is talking to you, I mean, one of the things that I know, I can't fix you. I can't fix this.
Hmm.
I can hear you
Yeah.
and listen. And I tell them right off the get go, I can pray for you and I can hear you
Hmm.
out. But I don't. I hope that's all you're looking for
Yeah.
from me.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So, but so we need to find someone, and that kind of um, dovetails with this slide. Is that
Oh,
find
there it
someone
is.
who will give you grace, someone
Hmm.
who's a good listener, not an advice giver.
Yep.
Now, when I train our coaches, I like to kind of share with them how to appropriately give advice. Just to kind of, not only am I a pastor, I've been a full-time pastor since 1976, and that one of the graduate degrees I have is in life coaching. And so it's not like I just kind of like said, okay, I'm a life coach, because anybody says I'm a life coach, you know. but but there is an appropriate way to share advice, and that's one of the things that I like to do when I'm training our coaches for the Beyond Betrayal program on how to do that. We're not going to talk about that now. I'm just saying that it's not like advice is completely off limits, but
Yeah.
you need someone who's not trying to just give you advice. You need someone who can coach you and guide you along the way. So, one of the things that we need to be clear about too is that coaching is not counseling. Counselors are experts. Karen's husband is a therapist. He's working on his getting his license, and that and he has gone to school for that. And so counselors are experts who can help people learn to cope more effectively with life issues and mental health problems. And I always advise people and I guide people when I'm coaching them if it's really a mental health issue that's beyond my expertise. You
Yeah.
know, I say, hey, find somebody else to talk to, and I'll still coach you, but find somebody else to talk to about those matters. But also, we need to understand that unlike counselors, coaches focus primarily on helping people look to the future to achieve some goal or desired outcome. And that's what we've done with our Beyond Betrayal program, is that we are helping people to kind of move towards the future on these things. And what our tagline is that where life can be good again. And I think that so many people in the aftermath of betrayal become hopeless. You know, I had a therapist friend of mine who's really the best. He's retired now, but he's the best therapist I've ever worked with. And he said in the kind of the professional conversations that we had, and so I'm giving you a peek behind the curtain now, but he says that your first job in working with people is to inspire hope.
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
and it's not false hope,
Right.
because our God is the God who redeems not only souls, but He also redeems our pain.
Right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yep.
so life can be good again. It really can be,
Absolutely.
and God's good purposes for your life
Right.
can be fulfilled.
Yeah.
And it can be good while you're going through this too, not just after you get through it,
Mm-hmm.
but it can be
Mm-hmm.
good while you're going through it. That's what
Yeah,
that hope and joy does for you.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just finished preaching a sermon series on or I finished preaching an installment on my sermon series on the life of David. And God took him down a pretty crooked path, because once he was kind of like commissioned to be the king of Israel, the next thing, kind of the big next thing on his agenda David's experience was being a fugitive for, I think it was 7 years or 7.5 years or something like that, with a guy who's trying to kill you. You talk about betrayal, So, but
Right.
I think it's also helpful for us to surround ourselves with friends, and the right types of friends, and that and best friends are those who show grace. It tells us in Luke chapter 6, verse 31, do to others as you would like them to do to you. So, how about, just tell me the first name of maybe when you were going through some of your darkest times of a friend who showed you grace. How about for you, Karen?
Yeah, so I have a couple good friends that helped me through it, outside of family and my husband. Kristen and Irene were real rocks for me when I was going through hard times.
Yeah. Trina, how
Yeah.
about for you?
Mine actually was really lonely, but I can tell you that in that being alone is what drew me back to God.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
didn't have a person.
But that's wonderful. I mean, no, seriously. And the reason why I say
It
that
is
that's
wonderful.
wonderful
Yeah.
is because not everybody's story is the same,
That's
Mhm.
right.
and it's that aloneness
Yeah,
that helped to reset your spiritual
it did.
your spiritual path.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah.
also, best friends are those who show loyalty, and it tells us in Proverbs 17:17 is that a friend is always loyal. So, Karen, how about for you? When it comes to loyalty, is it the same two names that you would mention?
Yeah, and then I also have like some people that like through the church have become like family to me
Mm-hmm.
that I know I can't we don't really have as much communication as I do with the other gals, but I know that if I need anything or whatever, I can just reach out to them and they'll always be there for me. Yeah.
So, what are some of the just really quick a quick laundry list, the top three maybe of what makes them such a good friend?
Well, not only do I have an opportunity to share with them, but they trust me and share with me as well. So
Okay,
it's
mutual. Yeah.
full, relationship. Um, that they give godly counsel.
That's great. Yeah, yeah.
And they also, uh, well, I'll say this, and they don't just tell me what I want to hear, but tell me what I need to
Yeah,
hear.
yeah. And that actually brings us to our next slide. And I didn't know that you were going to say that, but it says, wounds
There.
from a sincere friend are better than many kisses from an enemy.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, plenty of people will tell you what you want to hear.
Hmm.
I love it when people tell me how wonderful I am.
Yeah, but wouldn't you
Yes.
rather them tell you the truth?
Yeah, no. But no, but we all love to hear good things about ourselves, you
Yeah.
Yeah.
know. But we
Yeah.
also need friends who will speak truth into our
Mhm.
Yeah.
lives. I have a story about our next slide coming up here, but
Okay.
but we need friends who will, hey, is there something in my teeth?
Yes.
So,
I have a story about this actually.
all right, why don't you tell us your story first, and
Okay.
then I'll share mine if it you know seems fitting.
So this was back when I was in high school, actually. And I was dating a guy, and we were at the mall, and we walked into a store, and there was a lady standing at the checkout stand with her skirt tucked up into her pantyhose. And she had been walking around the mall with her skirt tucked into her pantyhose and her whole butt showing. And he's like, "You have to go over there and tell her that this is what's going on." I'm like, "No, I can't. I could barely stop laughing. I was like, I'm dying here. Man, I have to, because I would want somebody to tell me if my skirt was tucked in my pantyhose."
I was the person with my skirt tucked in my pantyhose, and not only my pantyhose, I had a hole in my pantyhose, strategically placed. And I made my husband take a picture so I could see what everybody in this town saw. Yes, so thank you for telling her.
Where was this at? Where was this
When
at?
I moved here to Jamestown, and we were standing in a restaurant waiting a half hour for a table, I had it tucked in the entire time after using the bathroom. Barely still has a picture of it.
Man, it's good that you can laugh about it now.
I want to change the color of my hair and everything else.
From there on out, whenever you'd go through town, you'd wear those glasses with the eyebrows and the nose.
Oh, yes.
You're
Oh,
like,
my word.
"I'm new
I
in
feel
town.
that.
I sure hope we have not been introduced."
I feel that lady's pain. Oh my God.
You know, your face, I can't place your face. Turn around.
No. You can't, I can tell you anytime, anybody that knows me knows that story, because when I have to get up and speak, and every year we do banquets and I speak in front of people, I always say, "So help me, you guys check me over before I walk past here." And then I'm always checking. Yeah.
And then you're introduced as the speaker. You may not know Trina Owens, but turn around.
But
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
Oh, that's so
Nope.
funny.
Oh, it's a terrible, horrible nightmare.
I'm not even going to try to compete with those stories. They're too good.
Well, do it.
So-
Well, you had something. Was it in your teeth?
No. I'll save it for another time,
Because I am married to a man who constantly looks at me and he'll go, and I'll, "Do I really have something?" He goes, "No, just making
Just
sure
checking."
you know." So I'm home. So that's the least of my concerns.
Yeah, there you go. So a good coach will tell you when the spinach is caught in your teeth, but is also trained. Friends can mean well, but sometimes they don't know the path to healing and growth. And, I'm not saying that what I've figured out is the answer, but I do know this. I have spent much of my lifetime trying to figure it out, not only for other people, but also for myself. And all I'm doing is passing along what I found to be helpful, both in my life and the lives of others. So, and that's why I am always skeptical about people who call themselves a coach, because, like I say, anybody can.
Right.
But whether or not they know what they're talking about is another story.
Well, for instance, if my husband and I are marriage facilitators, so that's probably a step below a coach. Just facilitating this mess. But what I find sometimes that is difficult, taking sides, because I can there are good-willed people, and
Yeah.
there are not so good-willed people.
Oh, yeah.
And when you recognize that as a coach or a facilitator, I'm a little bit at a loss on how to go about that.
Okay. I'm going to raise my hand and interject here just for a moment because I also have a marriage enrichment program that I've developed now. And I've spent probably a longer time on it than I did this. And so I will ultimately introduce that into the Beyond Betrayal program. But oops, I forgot to turn off my phone. So let me get rid of this. Sorry. How unprofessional is that? So,
Sell it to
so
your parole officer. That's, I heard that works.
so but with the marriage, because I always got stuck as a pastor because there are people who are the bad actor in the relationship,
Right.
and like you say, taking sides. Here's what I've, and it's very nuanced, and it's very difficult for the victim to hear, but I call it solving for X. And in my program, what solving for X, and by the way, I ran this past my therapist friend that I really respected, and he really liked it. So, I mean, at least I have his stamp of approval. So,
Yes.
but solving for X is just simply this: everything changes when I change. Now, when you have a perpetrator or an offender in your marriage, what you have to do, it's kind of like a child who's acting out. That child will continue to act out. Okay, I know this from being a parent, that children do what they do because it works. When you stop it from working, the child adjusts. Okay, so when it comes to solving for X, the concept is that that my partner has either is doing bad behaviors or has done a bad behavior. Now I need to figure out what's the healthy response to a person who is doing bad behavior or has done bad behavior. You can't make another person be healthy.
Right.
But you can, and Karen, I like the way she said it in her, in some of her, when I've listened to her. I steal all of my material, so, but she says that your response is your responsibility.
That's right.
And in marriage, we like to make, well, you made me, or we fly off the handle or whatever else, because we feel justified. We need better ways of managing the conflict that's present in our marriages. So now that is a complete aside, but
Yes,
yeah, but
Let me
yeah,
say one other thing that's on that same track
yeah,
before we switch tracks is I realized when my kids were little and I was trying so hard to get them to do things the way I wanted them to do them. And you think even maybe with a kid it'd be easier than with a grown up or whatever.
yeah,
But what God revealed to me was that we are called to be self-controlled and love others, not to control others and love ourselves.
that's
yeah.
right.
There's
You
another
know.
one I'm going to steal.
That's good.
That is good. I don't know where you got all your wisdom. It must have been from your mother's side. So,
No, I pray and I ask for wisdom, and God gives generously to those who ask.
Good answer.
oh, I feel put down one more time. So why not? You know.
Yeah.
But so a good coach is objective. A professional relationship is different from an emotional tie, and oftentimes we turn to our friends because of an emotional tie, and they sometimes are really reluctant to share what we need to hear, and I oftentimes, when I'm coaching somebody, I will tell them, now, I'm about to go out on a limb right now and maybe saw it off. But, and then, I share whatever I
Okay.
think needs to be shared, So, because people need that, People
Yes.
sometimes need slap therapy.
I call it lay hands on you real hard.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, so- but
Slap
also,
therapy's good.
yeah,
Nicer.
a good coach also promotes accountability. They help
Mm,
you to structure whatever accountability you need for success.
mhm.
And a good coach brings clarity. And so tuning out the noise is challenging when you're stuck in the middle of chaos. And I've seen this so many times because it's like all of the rabbits are scampering loose in our heads
Mhm.
after we've gone through trauma, you
Yep.
know, and we're trying to capture them all, and or we don't really know where to start, or we don't even necessarily see that maybe is not the time you need to chase after that particular rabbit,
Right.
you know.
Mhm.
Right.
And so
Yep.
having someone who can help you to tune out the noise.
And sometimes that happens and you don't have any trauma going on. I woke up this morning just like 100 miles an hour. I'm like, oh my goodness, what happened? What's wrong with me? I
Mhm.
really did. And I do this thing, I call it Selah. And it might help
Yeah.
somebody out there. But you stop,
Mm-hmm.
stop. Because I don't know what happened, but I had to just stop.
Yeah.
And I inhaled, and I do this thing with Yahweh, and
Oh, here I go again. What am I
I
doing
I
wrong?
inhale Yah and exhale way. And I'll tell
Mm-hmm.
you, I don't know how God does it, but I was at peace, and then I just lean into God, and I ask Him, I need your help right now to calm the chaos. I don't know, it just
Yeah.
this was just this morning, and then I sat and listened to Him. God talked to me for a good hour and a half this morning after I
Mm.
just settled. I stopped the rabbits. And I don't know, and I didn't have anything, I mean, going on like that. There was
Yeah.
not like bad anything, no trauma, but just
Mm-hmm.
we get ourselves caught up so much in the noise of this world. And I think that's where Satan take you and spin you right round, baby, right
Oh
round.
no, I
That's
agree
what's
100%.
happening.
You
And
know.
so it's a technique that I use, and
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
it just stops the noise. It stops
Well,
it.
Yeah.
I like that.
And
Selah
they lost.
is essentially in the Book of Psalms. It's
Yep.
a musical
Pause.
notation where that denotes a pause, and so
Pause.
yeah, I like that. I'll tell you what
Yep.
helps me, but I'll save it for another time because I want to respect our time and kind of moving through this. So, but so just really briefly, how has having someone walk with you on your journey helped you? Now, you mentioned a few names, but and even in your case, Trina, is that it was you spend a lot of time alone, but ultimately you weren't, you
Correct.
know,
Right.
and so
But I can say though, I mean,
yeah,
I wish that was the only trauma that I've ever had. But there, now I can say where I am today. And
mm,
I mean, I have a situation right now with another person that has been traumatic, but I've had three other godly women on
yeah,
this journey with me with this crazy person. And there's no other way. I can't even be not. That's nice. Just trust me there. Um, and
yeah,
it's those. It's make sure your friends are leaning on God too.
exactly, exactly,
But they let. I know that they've let me do my. Like, oh my, what am I doing, this woman? So I don't to anybody else. They'd be like, well, what happened to the Jesus in her? But they have allowed me to be like real. You know what I mean? I mean,
yeah,
Yeah.
sometimes some people are scary, and
what,
my life has
yeah,
been on the line. And I think somebody's
yeah.
out to do me in. I mean, that was been a scary thing, and and yes, it's okay. I don't care who sees this. I want somebody watching my back right now. And but to have friends that give you They hear you out, they feel your pain, they might cry with you, laugh with
Yeah.
you, then go, you know what, you need to take a breath because
Hmm.
you're okay. I mean, so I agree with Karen. Those friends are priceless.
Amen. Amen. So, Karen, anything to add?
Um, no, not right now.
Okay. So,
Because his alarm keeps going off.
yeah, fair enough. Yeah, actually, people keep calling me, and I thought I had it. I thought I had everything under control today, and I normally don't have that problem, but today, you
That's
know,
okay. You know what?
yeah,
I
I
have
guess it
four
is.
dogs in this room, and everybody's been quiet. So.
I know, I know. So, just a couple more slides. One is that so when you're going through, beyond to get beyond betrayal, craft a winning strategy. Define your goals and pursue your goals. Now it's a cliche, but it's still true. To fail to plan is to plan to fail, and a good coach guides your self-discovery in identifying your goals and plans and helps you to keep on track. So that we've been talking about forgiveness, and that forgiveness is the only good path forward, and it's what sets wounded hearts free.
Amen.
Anything that you ladies would like to say before we wrap up today? And I'd like for you to stay online just after I close out the broadcast. But anything that you'd like to say?
I say amen to that last statement. That says it all.
Yeah, Karen?
Celebrate recovery for me was the thing that helped shift my viewpoint on sharing your story because,
Mm-hmm.
in Celebrate Recovery, you hear
Yeah,
people's testimonies and everything, and it's really powerful.
yeah.
And um, and it just made me realize like how often we think I'm the only one going through this kind of thing. But we do ourselves a disservice when we don't share our story because one, we don't realize there's other people that are going through the same thing. And we're doing them a disservice because they
Mm-hmm.
feel isolated and like they're the only ones that are having to deal with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And really
Mm-hmm.
there's so many of the things that we deal with have a thread that is common for all people, and so in
Mm-hmm.
sharing your story and maybe how you've gotten through things or what you do might help somebody else too.
Yeah. Yeah,
Amen.
yeah. The Selah thing, that's one takeaway for me today on that. And so I'm going to steal your material, Trina, too.
Do it.
So,
I have it written in a card in my prayer room, and seriously, this morning, them rabbits you described, I had rabbits, and it was bad.
hey, stick
Like,
around,
no.
ladies. Let me just go ahead and wrap this thing up real quick. So, I really value the wisdom and insight of Trina and Karen, and just the joy that they bring to these discussions. And I think that you probably do. You find them to be very beneficial too. And so I would encourage you that whenever we are online, to catch us if you can, or you can check out our resources that we have on the web, or you can also join our private Facebook group, beyondbetrayal.org. I'm creating a playlist of all of these forgiveness videos, and I will continue to share those on my various platforms. But in the meantime, I'm just hoping and praying that what we have to offer will be of benefit to you, and it will help you to get to the place where you can discover that life can be good again. So that's it for now. We'll see you next time. Bye bye.